hopefully, when users get in, we've got a fair amount of competitors. Hopefully you think that, wow, this is a really robust offering. This is everything collectibles management, but everything that we hope it would be.
If you've been following the channel or the live streams, I've been talking a whole bunch about how we've been building out a real world asset podcast with the team at SegMint. It's called RWA SegMint's Podcast. True. Today and subsequently tomorrow, the next day, or whenever the heck we feel like it, we're going to get together and just talk a little bit about SegMint, the real world asset space, NFTs as a whole, and just kind of vibe. Couple things. Number one, if you'd like to check out that podcast, I'll throw a link down in the description below. Number two, this is a conversation with Matt Bartlett, the CEO of SegMint. This is a new platform that has been out for a little bit. If you're interested in finding an aggregation of certain NFTs, but is also launching a full NFT marketplace as a whole, and it's going on Abstract. They have an upcoming whitelist. We'll go through all the details. Thanks so much for watching. Let's get into it. First day of Abstract. I know that you're not officially launched on there, but what did you think? We saw the entire market completely take a crash off of some AI news, and so it was a really kind of odd day to get into it, but it seems like everything Abstract is going quite well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, this was a rough morning, for our bags. I've gotten in. It was very smooth. Checked out the portal, created my wallet. I saw a lot of people. I feel like Big Brother because I'm watching a lot of people on video who are just sitting, but maybe they're struggling to figure out what to stream. But I know that will only improve. But yeah, no, good. I think it's a good launch so far.
And I think one of the things for myself was like logging in there and deciding, okay, do you want to connect like your Web3 wallet? Do you want to do the email? The whole abstract concept was almost
Yeah.
like a fight for what you wanted to do on. But it was cool that they did highlight some various apps. And I think generally when you go to different blockchain sites of any sort, it's usually this huge breakdown for developers and not necessarily for consumers. But what did you think of their landing page? Because it did feel like, okay, it was actually consumer crypto.
It does feel that way, and I could see it being really powerful going forward, where that does become your home base to start your Web3 journey each day. Yeah, I mean, I'm very encouraged by it. It's also really clean, right? I mean, great UI, great UX so far.
Yeah, I filled out one of the streamer applications for that, and I was surprised it was just a singular page where you're able to type stuff out, and it felt really clean and simple. But for yourself, as you're approaching the launch, I should say, of SegMint on Abstract, let's first go over what SegMint is and why you're connecting to Abstract.
SegMint, I keep saying it, collectibles management platform, but what we want you to think of SegMint is, imagine eBay meets Sotheby's powered by the blockchain, right? And so if you're a collector of NFTs, whether those, backed by physical collectibles or those that are, digitally native, Pudgy Penguins, CryptoPunks, etc., we want to be that go-to spot. You've got a general NFT marketplace functionality, which is almost finished. It should be done before RWA Paris in a couple weeks. We're already deployed across multiple chains. Abstract, of course, is testnet, but we'll be live there shortly, but still ETH, Polygon, and Base. Fractionalization feature is still live. I mean, that's where we got our start, and that'll be something that is still available to users who want, different ways of trading and accessing high value items. And then, of course, we're going to sort of gamify our incentive model. So we've got a fun Pudgy fishing game coming up and other rewards that we're gonna share. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. Hopefully, when users get in, we've got a fair amount of competitors. Hopefully you think that, wow, this is a really robust offering. This is everything collectibles management, but everything that we hope it would be. We'll see.
When people are looking at this now, because my assumption and based off what I've seen on the timeline is everybody now going to look at these different abstract collections. You have a mint that's coming up for the Adventurers. Talk a little bit about what the Adventurers are and how
Sure.
people could get on the whitelist to be able to mint that.
The adventurers are really a pixelated adventure character. That's sort of the visual, and it will change during certain activations, so it won't always be the same static image. The NFT mint is a mint of limited supply, 7,000 adventurers, 12 tiers of rarity. This is our first fixed supply collection. We did one on both ETH and Polygon, more open-ended, infinite supply. It had a different use case, but we're going to make sure we take care of the OGs. We'll have a treasury reserve of about 550 that we'll keep for, whether it's future partnerships or incentives. I mean, sometimes people look at treasury NFTs as sort of dilutive. we're really only using it to move Segment forward, right? So if it's a net benefit to the community, the platform, et cetera, that's what we're going to do. There's lots of ways, obviously, to jump in. If you come into the Segment Discord, that's something to look forward to. I'll let you find out. But maybe follow us on Twitter, follow my account, stuff like that. But you can get it. The point is, we're trying to do things right, and maybe avoid the mistakes where you and I have had these mint opportunities in the past, and it's been a lousy experience. For instance, you're whitelisted, and then you go to mint, and it's like you and 5,000 other people, but there's only 20 mint spots left. That's so frustrating. So if you get whitelisted, you're guaranteed a mint. And then the problem that will also open up is that you might end up having people that weren't paying attention and they just didn't mint. So you might have excess feedback, and kind of talking to our community of users is just to burn the excess. And so that's probably what we'll do. So I'm thinking, as of right now, 24-hour period for mint, sometime the week of the 17th or after of February. It's free. You'll just have to likely, and you have to do this now, bridge some Ethereum over to Abstract to be able to mint. But again, it should be pennies, right, for gas, which is hopefully part of the point.
You're kind of running into this collision where you have the physical assets or the real world assets, even though technically anything that's an asset could be classified as a real world asset. But you now have a marketplace that's going to be for both purposes, one that's tokenized physical goods and one that's just digital tokenized goods, which as they are natively. So I'm curious, what do you see the landscape changing towards as we move forward with physical collectibles? Do you believe that that entire industry of whether it be sneakers, whether it be collectible cards, tokenized wine as another example, do you think that that is all going to move on chain?
I think it's going to be a gradual process. And so that's why on the fractional side, you can get fractional ownership via segment keys of whiskey-backed NFTs and rare wines and watches. In some cases, like with our partners at Cantinium, you could just buy the whole NFT that's backed by a bottle, and you could redeem it if you want to take physical delivery. But maybe to answer your question, I look at these digital platforms like Segment sort of creating these borderless marketplaces where collectors could buy, sell, trade collectibles anytime with anyone. And the immediate advantage there is like significant market liquidity compared to traditional channels. I mean, maybe even someday more than what you might get with eBay, right? Obviously, you do have the fractional aspect that you could turn on for tokenized collectibles, which helps to democratize access. One of the use cases that we talk about with Metacask, right, is they tokenize the cask, they bring the digital twin to Segment, but then they fractionalize it into 100 keys. You could stop right there and say, all right, well, that's cool. You could trade fractions of a cask. But the use case is if the person holds on to the key past June of 2026, they actually get 2 bottles of the spirit once it's bottled. And so now you've got like a win-win for collectors where they can enjoy the spirit in one hand and then store the other one for a future day. So you're making things accessible, but also still maintaining prestige. I think that's important. And then maybe most importantly, there's this sort of parallel to e-commerce adoption, I think, where just as people were initially hesitant to shop online, right? I mean, we were at one point, and now trading these physical collectibles, I think, is on a similar trajectory. No matter the platform that's involved, we all need to improve, education, build trust with folks, build out real user-friendly experiences, which we're going to try to do on Abstract. Hopefully we're going to learn from others building on Abstract, right? We all have this consumer crypto mindset, and I'm embracing that. But hopefully that's one way that we capture sort of this significant share of the market.
People might not have an inside look at what the development is behind the scenes for somebody connecting to Abstract. So if I can ask, how's that process been connecting to it? Is it something that's simple? You talk to the dev team and you're like, hey guys, we want to go to Abstract. Do you need to work directly with Luca or the team over there? What does that process look like?
The Abstract team is great. I mean, once you've kind of made that decision to build, you're in these different Telegram groups. Mason, the community manager, is working with us on the community and marketing side. So they're hitting it from all angles, which is awesome. I think on the dev team side, it's like my team is heads down right now. We're actually maybe doing things a little backwards from what other Abstract projects are doing, meaning we're really focused on the mint first, and then the Abstract Global Wallet. I mean, that's really important. That might come either at the same time or after. And the reason why the Abstract Global Wallet is so important, you need that. It's kind of like the prerequisite to be on the Abstract portal. So we're kind of missing out on some of the visibility. If at the end of the day, all you really need to do is bridge some ETH over to your wallet, I mean to Abstract Chain, it's not that big of a deal. Let's have a really smooth mint experience, and then we'll sort of fix the rest as we go. The main point is just obviously I want folks to have a good experience and then get them comfortable with what Segment has to offer.
You mentioned the Vibes game a little bit earlier. Obviously, you are a huge collector. And sorry, I should say you mentioned a fishing game earlier, but we've seen you on the timeline posting a lot about Vibes. You got a lot of sketch cards, and it's really cool to see, but you are doing something specifically with Segment for those Vibe cards. So what can you tell us about the game that's to come?
Number one, we announced that we did a Van Eck promo card. A collab card that features the Van Eck intern persona. For those watching right now, I'm also the head of Web3 at Van Eck. That's a really cool collaboration. And when we go to RWA Paris, Viv, my community manager, and I will be there. We'll have a little raffle wheel. People have a chance to win that card and other fun swag from Van Eck and Segment. For the Vibes fishing game, I've actually sent roughly 1,000 cards to CGC to get graded. 200 or so of those were the Van Eck promo card, so that we can then tokenize those ourselves and then use as part of an incentive program where at some point in the future, just setting expectations, most likely midway through April, late April, users who are on Segment will accrue XP. They'll buy bait with their XP, and then they'll go fishing. And when you go fishing, you'll have a chance at catching some items, including tokenized Vibes cards, right? So that's kind of the idea. And there will be different rarities, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.
For people that are watching this that have never seen the Segment platform before, we've talked about the NFT marketplace as a whole kind of opening up, but what's available there right now for them to be able to get involved with?
Outside of making sure that you're whitelisted for the mint, you have the features that we've already kind of gone over, which are the fractionalization aspect, which you need to be KYC'd, you need to live outside the US. I mean, that's part of the reason why we're adding more features, because it's so much of a barrier to user acquisition. In the next couple weeks, the general marketplace will be fully live. In between that, though, we did aggregate listings. And so what that means is we pulled some listings from other marketplaces into Segment that are whole NFTs. And so you can buy things like Courtyard.io's cards. There's TCGs and sport cards there. There's wine from Cantinium. Watches.io has some offerings. So there's some things, but honestly, I'd almost consider more like placeholders for now. It should get a lot more robust in the next couple weeks. I have some of the cards that will be tokenized in my possession right now. And obviously, when you think about the bait, there's going to be different rarities, and your odds of catching things are going to be changed or different. So some of the items, and literally, I just got back from CGC. So these are just, these look like, graded 10 cards. Got a bunch of pristine 10s, which is nice. But these ones in particular were also signed by Claire Altman, who's the illustrator of all of the cards, I think, except for one. And so these you'll be able to have a shot at getting. I think they warrant a very rare bait, a legendary bait to catch these. Really beautiful cards, and it's so awesome when you could. Not only do you have like the autograph, pretty sure all of these have an auto of 10, and they do. And the other part is because I had these signed at the Art Basel event, they also get sort of a special label because they were there to witness the autograph of Claire. So something to look forward to.
Final thing, I know that you mentioned the NFT Paris a little bit ago, but do you want to just touch on that a little bit more? Because it sounds like you guys are also a big sponsor of the event itself.
Representing both Van Eck and Segment at RWA Paris. I think the dates are the 13th and the 14th, so Thursday, Friday. We'll have a booth. We have the raffle wheel. I've got Bitcoin socks. I've got gold digger hats for a special activation we're doing with Portals.2 on Solana, among other things. Also giving a keynote main stage talk, or whatever you want to call it, at 3:30 on Thursday. More the merrier to attend. And otherwise, I hopefully people could swing by and say hello.